Good morning. It's good to see each and every one of you here this morning, and hopefully you're doing more than sitting on the dock of the bay wasting time. You're here at Open Heart, and we're very glad to see each and every one of you. I am a huge martial arts fan. A huge martial arts fan. I've been that way since high school. Back then, you know, I had the Bruce Lee posters in my room. My friends and I would go to the drive-in every weekend to see the karate movies, and we ran track, and so we would have practice afterwards at our high school. But when that was over, we'd sneak into the wrestling room, and then we'd start practicing all the moves that we saw in the movies on one another. I mean, just a big martial arts fan. And then I moved on to college, and that didn't stop. I, moved into my dorm room. I put my Bruce Lee posters on my wall in my dorm room. And then there was a friend of mine in college named Joe. And one day, Joe and I were walking across campus, and we heard those sounds. And we came around the corner, and there were these students in their white karate uniforms. They're called gis. They were in their gis, and they were practicing their punches and all of that. And they were passing out flyers that it was the Shotokan Karate Club, and you could join. And Joe and I looked at one another. Back in those days, we were still slapping five. We weren't doing high fives. We just regular five. We said, we're doing this. So we went and we joined the club. We were the first few weeks that we were there, we were doing calisthenics, and we were doing the other things like that. And then finally they got down to, we were, saying we thought this was karate. We're doing that. And then we started learning the stances, and then we got around to the meat of things, and we got our gis. And I remember that night vividly. We put them on, and we had to learn how you take the belt and you wrap it around several times, and then you tie the knot in a certain way. And then that night, we learned our first block. Learned how to do our first block. And we were so excited. We're now learning karate. So we didn't even take our gis off. We just walked back to our dorm with our clothes under our arm, and we get back there, and all the way back, Joe kept saying, I'm gonna show my roommate Leon what I learned. I'm gonna show Leon what I learned. So we walk in the room, and Joe walks up to Leon, and he says, try and punch me. Try and punch me. Leon said, try and punch. He said, try and punch me. So Leon goes, bah! Joe says, no. You're supposed to try to hit me over the top. Because what we learned was the up block. So he said, okay, so he comes again, bam. He said, wait a minute, I wasn't ready. So Leon says, wait a minute. You mean to tell me you're going to be in a fight and you're going to tell the person, no, don't hit me this way, hit me that way. Oh, wait a minute, I wasn't ready. Yeah. And so as I thought about that, I thought about how life can be that way. Life starts swinging its blows at us, and we say, wait a minute, not that way, or I wasn't ready for that. We feel like that somehow things are coming at us so fast and maybe coming at us in the wrong way. And we've been talking this month about letting go, but sometimes it feels like that the process of letting go is far removed from reality, because the way that we've learned about it is that we allow ourselves to experience our negative feelings, to allow them to come up without judgment, and then just kind of let them go. But that seems like something that, we do off removed from the real world and just kind of sit there and, I'm feeling my feelings and I'm allowing them to come up. I don't have any judgment and I'm going with the flow. Meanwhile, life is swinging at us and kicking at us and giving us blows and all of those things. Our coworker cusses us out and our significant other makes us mad and we find ourselves where, our money is funny and change is strange and our credit won't get it. just all kinds of stuff happening. And we somehow feel like that this process that we've been learning may not work. But let's talk about again what we've explored all month. That letting go is not about giving up. It's about claiming our power. And when we find the things happening to us in life and we have those very strong negative feelings about it, it's because that stuff is already in us. Remember the story about the little girl who said, my sister made me mad, and her father reminding her she couldn't have made you mad unless there was already some mad in you. So there's sometimes when fear comes up, there's already fear in us. There's already anger in us. There's already frustration in us. There's already insecurity in us. There's already shame in us. There's already guilt in us. And this process is about identifying that, letting it come up without judging it, and allowing it to lose its power. Because as long as we try to either suppress it, it's going to come up somehow. I remember, my mother is a big gardener, and she would be out in the garden, and she would be pulling the weeds up, and she asked me one day to come out and to help her. And then after a few minutes, she said, boy, you're doing all this all wrong, because, I was just pulling the weeds up. She said, you have to get them at the root, or else they're going to come back. It's about getting them at the root. When we suppress them, we think that, well, I'm not going to deal with this right now, I'm not going to be bothered, I don't have time. But when we do that, then it's going to come back up at some point until it's healed. Or then we express it and we think, oh, I'm going to just get it out. I'm going to tell them, everything I think about them. I'm going to let people know what's on my mind. I'm going to let them know that they don't mess with me. They don't know. Not the kid. We burn bridges. We ruin relationships. We do all of those things because we thought that by getting it out, we were doing ourselves a favor. But sometimes what happens is still just on the surface. And it's still there waiting to be healed. Or we try to escape from it. Take this drink. I give this person, that person, all of those things, and I'll distract myself. I'll do this, I'll do that. I somehow won't deal with it, and again, it goes unresolved. So the process is, again, take the time to understand it, to be aware of those negative feelings. Live in the moment, sit with them. And I know that's not always easy, but this process isn't something that you can hear a couple of messages and then just think, I'm going to spend Thursday afternoon, letting go, and it's done. This is a continuous process. It's a part of our spiritual walk and our spiritual journey. It's a part of what we are about when we say that we are infinite beings having a human experience. We get in touch with that divine essence of us when we continue to do that, because otherwise it gets in the way. We talked about last week those people who walk around saying, I'm too blessed to be stressed, when really so many of us are too stressed to be blessed. We get so caught up in all our stuff and the stuff that's going on around us that we again lose sight of our identity, our divine identity. And when those situations that are overwhelming come, because yeah, it's easy that when it's just a little something, but when those overwhelming circumstances come and those overwhelming situations happen, again, it's a process of if we can't let the whole thing go and the entire negative emotion, we can start letting go bit by bit by bit by bit, just around it, just aspects around it. And as we do, it starts again to dissipate. Shakespeare reminded us that things are neither good nor bad. Thinking makes them so. Things are neither good nor bad. Thinking makes them so. Because you can have two people and the same exact situation happen to them. And one person overcomes it and the other person is overcome by it. It's as Irvin Seal reminds us, it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond to what happens. And this process that we're talking about this month of surrender, releasing, and letting go, it helps us to claim that power so that when those things happen, I stand in the essence and I remember who it is that I am. I remember who it is and what it is that is expressing through me, and I am ready for the situation and the circumstance. David Hawkins, in his book, Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender, says that when we continually do this process of releasing, what happens is that we develop a consciousness, and he pointed to people around us that we call great. And I remember Herbert Battle years ago saying to me one day, you know, the people out there in the world that we consider to be great, he said, if you were to check with them, they have their everyday struggles too. He said, the thing is we're the ones that are calling them great. But they're continually doing this process. They're continually setting the intention that no matter what comes my way, I'm going to stand in the knowledge of who I am. I'm going to understand that I am a divine being having a human experience. I'm going to stand here and know that I am God in expression. And when we do that, when we get into that place, the process begins to happen. You, speaking about karate, remember the movie The Karate Kid. And in that, we had Daniel who, you know, when he went to Mr. Miyagi to learn karate, and Mr. Miyagi had him doing all kinds of other stuff, you know, waxing the car and doing things like that. And, you know, finally he got upset because, you know, he was having to wax on and wax off every day and, you know, paint and all those things. And he's like, what in the world does this have to do with karate? And so he said, come here. And he came at him, and suddenly he got it. That the wax on and wax off and the painting up and the painting down was just simply the techniques that he needed so that when the battle came, he was ready. So when you have those quiet moments, yes, by all means, use them. Use them to get in touch with yourself in your prayer time and in your meditation time and in your quiet reflection time and your being in the present moment time and all of that. Use that. Use the process when the little things are happening so that when those major blows in life come our way, we are ready for them because we've put in the work. We've done what needs to be done. We've made a way. And we are there standing in our power, standing in our strength, standing in our state of surrender, standing in our state of letting go, and we taste freedom because we're free, because we move beyond those things that were holding us back at one time, and we are tasting all that it means when the master teacher Jesus said, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. That abundant life. Not just in terms of money or material things, but that abundant life, that we have the health and we have the sense of well-being, we have the knowing and we have the knowledge and we have the abundant relationships and we have all of that that is a part of who we are. And we embrace it. We say, life, bring it. Because I'm ready. Life, bring it. Because I'm ready. Life, bring it. Because I'm ready. I've surrendered. I've let go. And I know because it tastes so good.